This team was 20-8. This team is 22-20. This team is currently engaged in a stretch of the worst offense that we've seen in franchise history, at least going back to 1900. Ben Cherington's response to this has been to do absolutely nothing. I don't need to state any opinions on this, do I? You don't need an opinion on this. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins, where you found this. Tigers 4, Pirates 0. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Doesn't matter what the venue is. Doesn't matter who the pitcher is. Michael bleeping Lorenzen was out there for the Tigers last night. Looked like Nolan Ryan. Sandy Koufax. Doesn't matter. The Pirates can't hit at all. They can't even bring anything remotely resembling a consistent approach to the plate. Which, by the way, listen to this for a second. Listen to this carefully. This is Derek Shelton acknowledging that there was not an approach brought to the plate in this game.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. I wish I had an answer to that. We have to continue to have better at bats. Right now, we're just not having very consistent at bats, and there's not one thing that you can say that kind of opens it up. It's just something that we have to take upon ourselves to have more consistent at bats and more competitive at bats.
When he says they weren't being aggressive enough, they weren't going up there thinking this, that is a commentary on approach. Shelton was a hitting coach for a lot longer than he's been a manager. A major league hitting coach. He knows when he's seeing something that's across the board. Cherington's reaction to this is nothing. Andy Haynes is his guy. Made that painfully clear, and I do mean painfully, after last season. Haynes has no answers for any of this. Again, you don't need my opinion on this. You're watching it, okay? You're seeing something that you've never seen before. You're seeing players from A to Z, from 1 to 9 in that lineup, doing nothing other than Kutch, who, in fairness, exists outside a modern hitting coach. He's been in the league for a while. Carlos Santana, you could throw him into that too. And by the way, it's no accident, I'm guessing, that those two are still, for the most part, making good, solid contact. That's it. That's it. Brian Reynolds hasn't hit a home run since April 7. Did you know that? April 7? That's almost 6 weeks. No answers for it. No answers for any of it. Players come up from the minors. They're really sizzling hot in the minors. They come up here, they're ice cold. Is it harder to hit in the majors? Sure it is. Do you see major league hitting coaches occasionally help people like that? Yes. When have you ever seen it from Haynes? Cherington's response? Do nothing. Do absolutely nothing. Henry Davis homered last night in Altoona. Andy Rodriguez homered last night for Indianapolis. Nothing phases him. Nothing makes him say, wow, it would really be bad if this team was 20-8 and then fell to 500 within 3 weeks. There's nothing about that moves him. And you know what that tells me? Well, I don't want to be the guy to bring this up again, but there was a certain somebody who reported last fall that this management team, all the way up, including Bob Nutting, Travis Williams, were looking at 2023 as a punt year. Now, they never call it that. I did that. They did not believe that this team was going to be competitive in 2023. As such, they set their sights on when they would spend more money and everything else, way more toward 2024. Within reason, you can understand that. That is when most people would have expected Davis and Rodriguez, Quinn Priester, and a few others maybe, to make it to Pittsburgh. Mike Burrows before he got hurt. Luis Ortiz when he'd actually, be ready to get major league hitters out on a consistent basis, unlike last night. But then winter comes along, they're getting hit with criticism, they're not selling any tickets, and the decision is made, okay, we're going to try a little harder. We're going to try harder. We're going to tell people that we're about winning, that now is the time to win. So they go and they add Kutch, obviously, that's the ticket move. In addition to getting, a legitimately great player and great civic treasure and everything else here. They add Santana, they add Rich Hill, they add a couple of other pieces that weren't as expensive. And they tell everyone, this is it, we're here to win, we're here to win. It's all about winning now. And I get all this feedback. Well, you said they were going to punt and everything else here. And all I do is I applaud them. I say, great, wonderful. If they're going to be going for it, I don't mean going for it like the World Series, but if they're going to be changing their approach, that's great. I didn't offer any criticism about it. And the only skepticism that I'd expressed, and you can look it up, the only skepticism that I'd expressed was that when push came to shove, they would never, ever, ever, ever compromise on bringing up prospects before they feel it's right, whether it's for developmental purposes or for money purposes, in the name of winning in 2023. And that would either be the punt exposed or proof positive that they really were serious. Well, guess which one it's turned out to be. Guess which way they went. This was the punt. This is the punt. This will continue to be the punt because you won't see those players called up. You won't see Cherington make an outside move to add to the offense. You will see nothing. You will see continued nothing. Why? Because this season was never supposed to be anything, and by God, no 20-8 start was ever going to throw that out of whack. When we come back, J1Q. This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
Your front door, your car, your bike, your computer, your gun. Safety is a habit. Every day you lock and secure your home and everything you want to keep safe. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Visit ProjectChildSafe.org. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
This segment's brought to you by Family Table. Mom-inspired, chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door. No prep, no mess, just reheat, which gives you more time for your family or hobbies or going to the gym or whatever. Go to FamilyTablePGH.com. Use the code DK20 for 20% off and free delivery on your first order. Order by noon Thursday for Monday delivery. Family Table, bringing families back to the dinner table. Today's J1Q comes from Jordan, who says, pretty simple question here, DK. How does Andy Haynes still have a job? Well, before I get to the obvious on that, I will point out that in the month of April, the Pirates' hitting was through the roof. And even I had mustered a kind word to say about Haynes. Because when you have a team that had been, in 2022, the worst offensive thing you've ever seen in your life, and the next thing you see is that they're in the top 10 in the majors in every category. My good, even home runs, even power stuff, which nobody could have seen coming. You know, you tip the cap appropriately. But this, what you're seeing now, is what Clint Hurdle used to refer to as the punching back portion of baseball. Only these Pirates don't have it. They don't have a counter. They don't have an answer. And they don't have it across the board. That's where I say it again. Just as I praised Haynes in context in April for the Pirates having established a solid strike zone, for putting together the kind of contact that they were, I did so because I saw it across the board, not just because Brian Reynolds was having a good week or Jack Sawinski had one of those runs where he hits 4 or 5 homers in a handful of days. I did it because it was happening across the board. I even saw Rodolfo Castro working walks, for crying out loud. Well, here we are. Here we are in May, almost 3 full weeks into this month, and everyone's fallen off a cliff except Kutch and, to an extent, Santana. And by that, I'm not even looking at their numbers. I'm talking about just what I see with my eyeballs with their approaches. They're still having competent professional at-bats. Well, they're both also in their upper 30s. They don't need a hitting coach. Hitting coaches don't get or take credit for players at that age who've been around as long as those two have. Just like I'm sure Oscar Marin's not going to take any credit if Rich Hill were to go on a bender. But the rest of these guys, like this, across the board, I'm going sideways with my hand here. That's what you're seeing. How does he keep his job? I've already gone over that, and I could go over it again and again and again and again. Ben Cherington does not like to make moves. He is the exact opposite of an aggressive GM. He believes in establishing programs and processes, and he prioritizes those programs and processes above literally everything. And you'd better believe that includes the baseball game being played that day or night. That's it. He made the decision to fire Rick Eckstein. He made the decision to hire Andy Haynes after, by the way, the Brewers made the decision to fire Haynes as the only person on Craig Counsell's coaching staff who was fired. That's how miserable his performance was in Milwaukee. But Cherington made that call, and he's going to stand by it. He's going to stand by it. He's going to argue that Haynes needs to see these guys for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is. And no amount of information or data or anything else is going to change his mind. That's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everyone listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We will do another one of these tomorrow.